Welcome back to another video review with the replay. The US Athletics Championship trials had begun, and we have seen a number of athletes in action. Some of the world's favorite athletes, especially America's favorite sweethearts. Shacarri Richardson in action, Noah Lyles in action, Kenny Benerick, Sydney McCaulin, Gabby Thomas. There's a lot of action going on. But in the 100 meter, which is the marquee event in track and field, we all know that everybody love themselves a little bit of that 10 or sub 10 action in the men 100 meters and the women sub 11 action. Now, Noah Lyles finished 5th overall in the 100 meters, and Kenny Benerick with the best time so far, the only athlete in the US trials who had already ran a sub 10. So far, it's just the heats. We understand the athletes are not laying it all out on the track on the first day in the first race, knowing that there are multiple races in multiple disciplines that they will need to be participating. Noah Lyles will not be continuing in the 100 meters. I guess he was just shaking off the rust. So far, yet to go sub 10 in the 100 for 2025, but this still shows that he has it. He got it. He ran the top 5 time among many men, you know, with at least 16 men qualifying or 16 men qualifying for the semifinals. He's one of the top 5 athletes to qualify after we haven't seen a lot of Noah Lyles in the past couple of months or the past year. Kenny Benerick looked good starting out with the Grand Slam, the best athlete in Grand Slam track, the best male athlete in the short distance in Grand Slam track, and it is translating, or it's being transferred into the US trials right now, where he has the best time in the heats so far. So there's a lot of things to look forward to, and I'm sure the world is watching at the moment, because the US is the world rivals the US. Yes, while Jamaica is able to put up a good competition for the US is definitely the number 1 team or the number 1 country in track and field swimming. It doesn't matter. In World Championship, Olympics, they're the ones who usually get the most medals, and as a result, everyone is preparing to challenge the US. Sha'Carri Richardson with a time of 11.07. She also qualifies for the semifinals. Not sure what will be going on with Sha'Carri, but we know that she already have a buy-in. It might be where she run again to get herself some high-level competition. Not sure yet, but everybody's excited to see Sha'Carri out there on the track, knowing that she is one of the world's best entertainers in athletics in track and field. The US trials will see Sydney McCaulin running in the flat 400 instead of the 400 meter hurdles, and that's exciting news for track and field, especially with Sydney McCaulin just destroying the 400 meter hurdles every chance that she gets. She's taking on the flat 400, giving herself that opportunity to do a lot more. While we know that the men 100 meters in the world in 2025 is very competitive, some very fast time, especially from Jamaica and the US. We have seen a few African sprinters putting on excellent performance. The 100 meter women, it didn't seem as competitive, especially with Melissa Jefferson looking as good as she does, and not just Melissa Jefferson, we also saw where Julian Alfred looked excellent going so far in 2025. Now, the 100 meters in the US trial saw Jashia Sears with a time of 10.85 qualifying for the semifinal. She has the fastest time, with Melissa Jefferson with a time of 10.86. This shows that Melissa Jefferson is definitely in a good form going into the World Championship. Kayla White with a time of 10.89. She got the better of Shacarri Richardson, and with Tashwana Terry time of 10.89. So you see all these times that we're seeing coming out of the US. This shows that the US are in really good form. These US women, very good form. We've seen at least 6 sub 11 performances coming out of the US, and with Jamaica struggling to get those sub 11 performances, especially with the athletes who have already made it in. The athlete, I think, Tina Clayton, her best time is 10.81. And with these US athletes literally running 10.8s in the heat, it shows that the US women, they're ready. Gabby Thomas also qualified for the 100 meters with a time of 11:02. It's a lot of good coming out of the US. For sure, good exciting stuff. Even though Sha'Carri Richardson is the headliner, she have the 11th fastest time in the 100 meter heats. This doesn't say a lot because this is the heats. It's the first race, and as a result, you'll find athletes going all out in the semifinals just to make sure they book their spot in the finals. Because if you have a lane in the finals, you have an opportunity to get into the World Championship, whether it's as a relay athlete or just a finalist or a top 3 athlete. So the US looking really good at the moment. Sha'Carri don't look as good as she could. Noah doesn't look as good as he probably could. But for sure, these 2 athletes will be at the World Championship because they already did enough. They did enough to get themselves a spot at the World Championship from their previous performances at the World Championship, because these are champions going back to defend their title. I want to hear from you guys. How do you guys feel so far about the US trials? Remember, we saw the Jamaica trials already. We saw that Jamaica is doing extremely well after trials. A lot of athletes are motivated. They might be a little bit more settled in their minds. They're a little bit more comfortable. But so far, so good. We have seen where the US athletes, they are looking really good. And it's not just the big name marquee athletes like Noah and Sha'Carri who are looking good. So far, they look not as good as they probably could. But this is a good time to make some predictions. Who do you think will be making it through for the women 100 meters as well as the men 100 meters? Again, Noah Lyles and Sha'Carri, they already have a buy-in to the World Championship. So even if they don't perform, even if they don't make it into the semifinals, even if they don't run another race in the semifinals or in the trials, they'll be still making an appearance at the World Championship. So far, Jessius Sears with the fastest time 10:85, Melissa Jefferson 10:86, Kayla White 10:89, TT Terry 10:89, Alia Hobbs making a comeback with 10:94, and we also have Brandini with a sub 11 10:95. Drop your comments. Let me know which woman from the US do you expect to make it through to the 100 meters going to the World Championship for the USA. And we also have Gabby Thomas lingering around there with a 11:02. And we all know that she is a trooper, a real trooper. So with the men 100 meters, Kenny Benerick, the fastest time, the only sub 10 athletes in the heats so far. And we have Trayvon Brummel, Courtney Lindsay. Noah Lyles will not be running another race in the 100 meters in these championship. You already have a buy-in. Randy Baker, Christian Coleman, Kyrie King, Brandon Hecklin. These are athletes who a lot of people would be focusing on, zoning in on, thinking that they should be able to get one of those 3 spots. Drop your comments. Let us know who gets these spots. The US trials begin and they are showing out so far. I want to hear from you guys. Let's review the replay.